It's back, guys. Look, Crypterra is back up and running. After 24 hours, they're back online and better than ever. Well, maybe not better than ever, but they're back. But judging from the comments on Twitter and some of the emails I've been receiving, some of them are a little bit angry. I've been called a scammer. What do I have to say about that? I'll let Darth Vader say it.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
But seriously, folks, even I was having some angst over the fact that Crypterra has been having all these huge technical problems. But then I read this tweet on January the 20th that we are hardly working on fixing some bags. Well, let me rephrase that. Let me put that in standard English. We are hard at work fixing some bugs on our website. And once I read that, I started to see the light.
Have you seen the light? Yes! Yes!
Now, to their credit, Crypterra has been getting better about informing us and being more transparent through Twitter. For example, they wrote, "Dear friends, website is down because of unscheduled tech work in data center." Well, this would have been nice to know a little bit more ahead of time. Please schedule this work ahead of time. Don't give us a heart attack. Don't have the site go down and then post a Twitter update. Be a little bit more like other companies, like, say, for example, Hashflare. If they know they're going to be working on the website, they'll let people know 10, 12, 24 hours ahead of time. So maybe you guys can keep that in mind, Crypterra. So don't needlessly freak us out, okay? And don't even get me started on how Crypterra even counts time or views it. Look at this tweet from January 25th. "Dear friends, we got notification from data center. Website will be available again in a few hours." Okay, what is the normal understanding of a few hours? 2? 2 hours? All right, maybe 3? Maybe 4 at most, 4. But not 24 hours, okay? That's not a few hours, okay? That's a whole day. If it's going to be a whole day, tell us it's going to be a whole day, okay? All right, calm down, Rob. Calm down. Okay, enough of me complaining. Let's talk now how awesome it is to actually have the Crypterra website back up and running again. And there are some significant changes. Even though the site looks exactly like it did before the update, and they didn't quite give us that custom website yet. More on that rant later. But let's log in and see what actually has changed and why it's better, and how that's going to benefit you and help Crypterra stick around for the long haul. Okay, change number 1. The number 1 change you have to recognize, and it's the most important thing to talk about, is the increased minimum payout. Before it was about $10 worth of cryptocurrency. Now it is about $50 worth of cryptocurrency. Now, how do we know that? Well, notice what it says here. The minimum. This is where you need to look, right above me here. This is the minimum for Ethereum, the minimum for Bitcoin, the minimum for Zcash, and the minimum for Litecoin. Now you can copy and paste that and put it into any kind of calculator. I'm not going to do that now. You guys can do that yourself. But all of it is equivalent to roughly about $50 with today's current price of Bitcoin and Ethereum and Litecoin. Why is the higher minimum payouts a good thing? Before you start crying foul and say, well, that's not fair, I was getting $10 payouts, shame on Crypterra, stop it, guys, okay? A $50 minimum payout is completely reasonable. All those little payments that Crypterra was sending out, $10 here, $10 there, that was clogging up the Bitcoin network. We all pay for it and suffer with all this increased traffic from these ridiculously small Bitcoin payouts, okay? A higher minimum payout of $50 will allow Crypterra to not send so many low-value transactions, a little bit higher value, at least $50. And then they're also, hopefully, I haven't seen this yet, but I'm assuming that Crypterra will be able to increase the minor fees so that your transactions won't be pending for 24 to 48 hours any longer. Remember, when Crypterra was sending out those massive amount of transactions, they were sending out like 20 Bitcoin worth of transactions to thousands of different wallets, and only those 20 Bitcoin, they're only putting in maybe about, you know, $400 or $500 worth of miner fees when they know that should have been thousands of dollars worth of miner fees. Now, Crypterra has that option. I don't know if they're going to do that because we haven't gotten a payout yet. So that's yet to be seen. I'll be covering that in a future video. Remember, low miner fees bad, high miner fees good. And if Crypterra is setting a minimum payout in order to set their miner fees a little bit higher so that we all can get our money faster, that's a win-win for everybody, for Crypterra as well as for us. So, is it really a hardship if you're only mining $10 a day of Bitcoin that you can only get paid out every 5 days instead of every day? I don't think it's really a hardship. I personally rather would have a $50 payout than 5 little $10 payouts, okay? That's just me personally, but if you like those little mini payouts, fine. But going forward, Crypterra is imitating lots of other mining companies. They're growing up. They're getting a little bit more mature when it comes to these things. It's nowhere near as high as Hashflare, which is that 0.5%, which is almost like $800 worth of cryptocurrencies. But if you look at Genesis Mining and other mining companies, they all have a minimum payout of between $50 and $100. So get used to it, folks, because Crypterra is not going back. They're going forward, and higher minimum payouts are the way of the future in mining, in this mining industry. Huge change number 2 for Crypterra is their new security pin feature. Now, while this is not two-factor authentication, it is a huge step up in security. Now, it's you need to select a 6-number pin code, kind of like when you go to the ATM. Many of us are used to a 4-digit pin code, but 6 digits is actually better than 4 digits. Of course, any system can be hacked, but having this security pin is a huge, huge plus. Now, before everyone cries foul and say, oh, this is the worst thing ever, and it's not as good as two-factor authentication, there's a lot of websites that don't have two-factor authentication and are completely secure. So let's get off our two-factor authentication high horses, folks, okay? Now, why is having the security pin beneficial? Well, the security pin will... when you send withdrawals out to your wallet, you need to put in this security pin. For example, if somebody was able to hack your website and figured out your password, maybe you're lazy with passwords, they've got your username and you use the password 12345, whatever. Well, if you thought of a really smart, like hard to crack, you know, security pin, that 6-digit combination, and you didn't use 123456. They're not going to get your money, right? So it's an extra added feature and protection for all of us, actually. Now, there is one caveat. Using the security pin, and once you enter it the first time, they didn't tell us this in their Twitter page, it'll give you a 10-day penalty, meaning that you can't withdraw your money for 10 days. How do I know that? Well, I've tried it. Let me try it again. Entering my security pin, click on Withdraw Bitcoin. And it says, for security reasons, withdrawals are on hold till the 5th of February. Oh, it disappeared. Anyway, so that's a very quick notification box. So you got to read that quick. So hopefully on February the 5th, I will be able to withdraw all of my pending payments of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin. Oh, one thing you should realize here is that the Ethereum wallet, apparently they worked on their issues, is that now my Ethereum wallet address appears now. And now I'm looking really forward to being able to get my Ethereum payments paid out in actually Ethereum and not a Bitcoin. So that's going to be really cool because, you know, the Ethereum price is holding pretty steady, which is really nice. Now, just going back to the settings page where you have the security pin information. Now, I'm not sure if Crypterra, if they've coded it where if you change your wallet address, you'll also get this this penalty, this 10-day penalty. But I do know, I'm not going to try that out, but I do know for certain that changing your security pin will automatically incur that 10-day penalty. probably changing your password as well. So just keep these things in mind. Many of you are probably thinking, well, how do I know that Crypterra is going to pay me in 10 days now since we have these PIN numbers? I really don't. You're just going to have to wait and see. I mean, they've been pretty much on the up and up with Twitter, with all these posts. Think about it, guys. If Crypterra was going to scam out, wouldn't they have done what all the other companies have already done that have scammed out? Stop answering questions, stop supporting people through Twitter and other means. It really doesn't make any sense why they would keep us, in the loop a little bit. They said the website was going down for technical reasons. It went down for technical reasons. It took a little bit longer than they anticipated, but guess what? The website is back up, and they had made an announcement. They've added these security features. Yes, it wasn't two-factor authentication, but they're probably eventually going to have that two-factor authentication. But this PIN feature is certainly a real step in the right direction for Crypterra. So there are several things that Crypterra really needs to work on right away, which is a new website. If you look at the Crypterra website, this is a template website, folks. What is a template website? Well, a template is a design that is produced by a web developer that can be used by basically anybody. How do I know that this website, the Crypterra website, is a template website? Because it's on ThemeForest. ThemeForest is a popular website where web developers, web designers just want a little bit of a quick shortcut. And for $20, you can purchase this license. Let me give you a live preview. Okay, a live preview here shows you that this is exactly what Crypterra used to develop their website. Of course, they customized it, they changed the images, but looks familiar, right, guys? Yeah. Okay, there's a reason why this Crypterra looks the way it does, and there are many other Crypterra-like websites out there, because Crypterra did not buy the license to or the exclusive license for this design. Anybody can use this design. So when Crypterra eventually has a brand new website, I hope it looks nothing like this website. In fact, their future website should not even be based on a template. There are many talented designers in Hong Kong and around the world, for that matter, that can design a bespoke or unique website. You need a unique website so that when somebody does copy you, you can at least say, hey, stop doing that. Let me contact their web server and say this is a copyright violation, or their web host. Crypterra can't do that. Anybody can create a website. In fact, Crypterra was a little bit so lazy here that this actual logo, which I thought was the Crypterra logo, is actually not the Crypterra logo at all, but is part of the packet, part of this web development theme here. So, yes, guys, Crypterra, please, as soon as possible, get that unique and bespoke design for your website, just like Hashflare has in Genesis Mining and CCG Mining and many other legit cloud mining operations. You need a completely unique website that you can call your own and say, this is our design, okay? Another thing we're going to be looking for in February is the promised photos of their new data center. As it says here, we will show you some pics and video from our new data center soon. It will be launched on February 2017. Now, a lot of you might be thinking, well, everything can be faked. Any photos and videos they provide, how do we know what's going to be real? I get it, folks, okay? We live in the era of fake news and a lot of misinformation. Many of you guys are jaded, and you don't trust anything anymore, and I understand that completely. But think about this. If you really feel that Crypterra is a scam, right, and that they are completely illegitimate, why haven't they already provided all kinds of fake data center photographs, right? They could have put it all over their website. This is our mining facility, individual, even videos they could have faked. They haven't done that yet. So you kind of wonder, why haven't they done that yet, right? So realizing that having photos and videos all along would have added to their sense of credibility, not having those photos actually has hurt them quite a bit. So they're actually eager to get this finished completely. And I know they're telling the truth on this because way back in December, it was a source of pride that they mentioned this data center in my communication with their customer support. Let me show you that right now. Back on December 28th, in my original communication with Crypterra, and when they actually had time to communicate with people, because since I did my video back in in December, Crypterra has exploded in popularity. I'm not saying it's my fault, but I did a video. I was one of the first videos on YouTube to do a video about Crypterra. A lot of other YouTubers in my space here were doing videos on Crypterra, and they just took off from there. As a result, they haven't been able to keep up with anyone's support requests. So hopefully that will be relieved in the future. But anyway, let me get to the paragraph here. It's too small to read, so I'm gonna have it appearing in a larger format here. I'm gonna read that to you. It says, we are working on developing our own industrial equipment for Bitcoin mining based on the 16nm Bitfury chips with hash power from 0.5 petahash to 1 petahash. Hope we will be able to start to use it in our data centers from spring 2018. Okay, so they mentioned the data center pictures in February. They told me back in December that this is going to happen in the spring of 2018. So this is real, folks, right? So they actually are building a data center based on these Bitfury chips. Now, what's the big deal with these Bitfury chips? Well, what is Bitfury? It's a manufacturer of these ASIC mining chips specifically for Bitcoin. And there's actually quite a number of advantages. I did a little research on this particular chip. There are some links below in the comments about where you can find out more information about these chips. There's a YouTube video that demonstrates the different capacities of these chips. Basically, these Bitfury chips, if you see the picture right here coming on the side, these Bitfury chips work really well in a low power setting and in a high power setting. So they're very powerful chips. There are lots of manufacturers, and each manufacturer of these chips have their pros and cons, and a lot of people in the comment section are going to say, oh, Bitfury is garbage and whatever. I really don't care what they say. Is that if people are building data centers based on these chips, they're doing it for a reason. These guys are pretty smart because they actually want to use less electricity, and if you can mine using less electricity, combine using less electricity with a location in the world where electricity is a lot less money, and they're saving a ton of money on electric, and those electricity cost savings are then passed on to all of us in this space by means of lower contract costs. So if you ever wonder why are Crypterra's contracts less money, it's not because they're a scam, it's actually because they're using more efficient equipment. And with the building of this data center, now we don't know where their data center is going to be. It could very well be out of Hong Kong. Their data center could be in Canada, could be anywhere in the world, really. So, but we'll have to wait and see. And hopefully, Crypterra will continue this trend of transparency, little by little, step by step. We'll find out information about where the data center is, what country. Now, I don't really care where the address of the data center is. If they want to keep that on the wraps for security reasons, that's fine. They should just be willing to tell us the country, maybe, or even the area where the country it is. Maybe it'll be in Quebec, maybe it'll be near Montreal, maybe it'll be in Hong Kong, maybe it'll be in Iceland or Georgia, or wherever. But the data center is real, and it will be built and finished pretty soon, which is really, really cool. Well, that about wraps it up for this video on Crypterra. Now, for many of you out there, it's been really a rough ride so far, particularly those who have paid for hash power and have not seen it enabled yet. And I just hope that everyone has been using the form that Crypterra has provided. Let's go there now. You can access the form right on when you log in here, when it says Info Payment Problem, where it says if you made a purchase and haven't seen your hash rate, something went wrong. Let us know about your payment and we will help you. Fill out the form here. And essentially what you really need to do is, all you got to do is pretty simple actually. You put in your payment system, basically, did you pay with Bitcoin or Litecoin? Okay. Your Bitcoin or Litecoin address. So whatever address you sent the payment from, this is your personal wallet address, could be your Coinbase wallet address, your Exodus wallet, your blockchain, whatever. Put that here. The amount of money that you paid, maybe it was a $32 introductory package, maybe it was a much larger amount, put that there. And also the transaction hash. Now what is that? Well, that is the actual, the transaction. Every transaction has a specific hash, and that is can be verified on the blockchain. So all these transactions can be found on the blockchain, whether it was a Bitcoin or Litecoin. There was no way of losing these things. And if you, as long as you put that transaction hash, or that transaction ID, we sometimes call it, Crypterra will find that transaction and they will add your hash power accordingly. Now they probably have a huge backlog because this happened to a lot of people, but be patient and they will add your hash power even though you might have been waiting, 10 days or so, and it's really, really annoying. I get it, folks. But once you get that hash power, you should be good to go. And I have a special message for all you haters that thought Crypterra was a scam and are calling me a scammer and an affiliate pusher and all of that. I forgive you. It might be because of my bald head. Maybe that's it. I will say this. I wasn't always a baldy, I mean, this is me back in my 20s here. Yeah, I had a pretty nice head of hair, right? Kind of like Eddie Munster, right? Anyway, if you get that reference, you're pretty old, so... If you like this video, please click the like button. If you still hate Crypterra and hate the fact that I'm talking about Crypterra and think I'm an affiliate pusher, by all means click the dislike button. In fact, you can vent and let out steam in my comment section as long as you don't use really nasty words and all that kind of stuff. I'd love to hear from you. I mean, I like a nice give and take dialogue here. So, and if you're new to my channel and you haven't subscribed yet, please by all means click the subscribe button so you'll never miss any of my content coming out in the next couple of days and weeks ahead. Some really good content, more tutorials on trading and GDAX, and more information about future mining companies and other possibilities where we all can make a lot more money in this crypto space. That's all I got to say. Take care, folks, and be safe. All right, bye-bye.